Well, thank you guys. I decided to just interview with Rico, our longest tenured employee. He's been here 42 years. And I want to hear a little bit about that story. And behind the camera, who you can't see, is Mike. He does a lot of our film, and he's our head culinary, both of our culinary experts, if you will. So I want to do this. I just started on December 14th. I took over Pete Pascuzzi. I think the company's been there's been a lot going on with the company over the last, I wouldn't even say 10 years, but I think there's no better person to talk to about it or have him talk to me about what I'm going to do as I take on this job as CEO than you, Rico. So I think the best way to start this, why don't you just give us, because it is interesting, there's very few people that have worked at a restaurant for as long as you have, so just give us a little bit about when you started and how you got to this point, and then you can grill me as you wish.
Well, thank you, but I've been here over 42 years with this company. When I came over here to the United States, I was a roofer in the roofing business, and then the weather came in and I had to go inside the restaurant. Back in the days, I went to Casa Number 3. We used to have Casa Number 3 in Broadway, and I went and applied, and the manager told me the only position was available was the dishwasher. So I took it. And I was watching this for 3 months, and then moved to the line.
And how old were you there?
I was 16.
Yeah.
I was 16.
Damn.
And you don't want to know how old I am right now.
Yeah, well, we'll keep that under wraps, all right?
But
both of us don't want to tell them.
We work at on the kitchen, then moved to the chef's position, and they taught me how to cook. They give me the tools, and I was told that I was doing a good job. Then they wanted to put me as a manager. I never really want to be a manager, so we went to open restaurants, and one time Mr. Mike Domek came to me, and he told me that he had a position that he wanted to offer, and hopefully I would take it. So they come to the office and said, we need somebody to be in the restaurants to fix every single recipe that we have. So sure, I accepted because of what I would like to do. And then I was told that I was doing a good job, and then they said, okay, now you're gonna move to the line and make sure all the place specs are correct. So after that, we move on, and I'm still here. Serving recipes.
Yeah, and that's amazing, because it's like one of the things I like about this place is the people, and it has it's been a tight culture. I think we want it. Restaurants have been around forever, and they have a reputation. I tell people that I know. I met someone last night at a Super Bowl party. He's from Houston. I said, "Yeah, I'm going Casa Ley." Oh, Casa Ley! I used to go there when I was a kid, man. Those things are.
Yeah.
So Casa Ley has a name. There's
Yes.
name recognition. It
Yes.
exists, and I think it had a real strong community bent back in the day, and it had a very family-focused type. It was a place where you get a very affordable meal, and it would fill you up, and you'd have to eat for another day or two after you get good Casa Ley meal. So I always felt that was what intrigued me about it. So when I see a person who's been here for 42 years, that just kind of reinforces that. They're like, hey, the people here are real strong, and there's a lot of people that have been here for a long period of time.
We do have long-term employees.
Which you don't see in the restaurant business, as you know.
No.
So I wanted to have this. There's no better person to interview than you, Rico, because of your tenure, because of where all the bodies are buried at this place, from what I understand. It's probably not the best term to use, but there has been a lot of change. So I was like, why don't you ask me a few questions? And
Sure, and I appreciate and I thank you for the time, the opportunity to give me to ask this couple of questions
my pleasure.
that I have. Can you please tell us a little bit about yourself, and for how long you've been an investor for MRI, and what's your role?
So I got involved with this in 2005, 2006, and Kirk Luck, who was the CEO, Drew Denard was the CFO. There was this guy, he had a fund called the Dirty Dogs Fund, D3 Funds. I forget his name, but he had a person on the board. They owned a big chunk of the company as well as Domek and Forehand. So I just became kind of a small investor, and in 2007 they bought Mission Burrito, as you know.
Correct.
from a woman named, I think her name was Meredith Whitney. She actually ended up, oddly enough, moving to Colorado and started a goat farm and raised cheese, just a sideshow. So she went from queso to goat cheese. I don't know if that's,
Right.
but so one of the things that intrigued me was I thought this was a really cool, Casa Ley, as I said earlier, has a reputation. Monterey has it's a known entity, so it has a very strong brand name. And then this Mission Burrito thing also had the same brand identity, even though there are only 3 of them. That people were like, oh, so I was like, this is a nice little combination of brands that could really be a great investment for me.
Right.
So that was 2006. 2014, fast forward, we brought the company, it was public, as you know, we brought it private with Burke Buckeye, who was a owner and CEO of Kona Grill. Marcus Junt had 4 restaurants up in North Dakota, and we kind of merged the 2 companies. That was 2014 to 2019, and we just never had the focus, in my opinion, on growing the Burrito brand and on Casa and Monterey. We were always kind of shooting off in different directions. So, and that was a source of frustration for me from 2014 to 2019. 2019, we split the company back up, and then in 2020, Pete Pascuzzi came on as CEO, and we can have a conversation about that 3-year tenure if you want, but I thought it was the right time. Maybe it was probably a year too late to move. I mean, the world's going in a fast direction with social media, digital marketing, and Casa Ley has been Monterey, Casa Ley, Tortuga, Burrito, a little behind the ball on that. So I wasn't pleased with our sales in the last 2 years. So December 14th, the board decided to, Pete resigned and I stepped up to become CEO.
Yeah, great.
So that's my tenure. I went from just a simple investor to doing interviews with you, Rico. That's impressive.
Okay, with that being said, what's the new system with Pete being going? So
Greg Snodgrass is our operations. He's going to oversee all operations. He's the president. My role is really strategic and to look at, okay, do we want to open up more restaurants? How do we want to grow our Burrito brand? Do we want to joint venture with anybody to bring in cash? Because as I said earlier, one of the big problems with Casa Ley, Monterey, the company, has been cash. We've been tight on cash. We're experiencing it right now, and it always sticks its ugly head up around late December, January to about now, mid-February, when sales start to decline naturally for seasonal reasons. But I think we stubbed our toe this time around just on the marketing efforts over the last year and a half. So the first thing I did was I brought Lindsay Hunt back. I've always been a huge fan of hers, and I can tell everybody I'm seeing dramatic improvements on the marketing side with her. I also brought in this guy, Bill Bonhorst. Bill is going to be our chief digital officer. So he's in charge of everything digital. He built Man vs. Fries from 0 in revenues to almost 50 million in revenues, and then sold it to Virtual Dining Network. So it was funny. I called him up, honestly, just to say to him, hey, I have no clue on social media. I mean, I'm no young. I mean, my daughter does, but I'm clueless. So I was like, can you give me some advice on how we're in the startup phase, how we can really run the social media, the digital marketing better? Because, we're doing couponing and we're doing billboards. That's not the answer in this market. And he actually sent me an email back saying, hey, I'll do you one better. He put his resume in the email. He's like, I just sold my company. I'll come on. I'd love to just join you guys. I love Burrito. I love Tortuga. I think your Tortuga is off the charts. He hasn't seen our Casas in Monterey yet. But he's like, I love just the vibe you guys have. So he's joined us as a consultant. So now our marketing team consists of Lindsay, Bill, and then I have weekly meetings with those guys to make sure they're going. And then we have Chloe as well.
That's great. Rich, I have we live of the. Seems like there's a money issue with, but no one talks to us about it.
Mm-hmm.
Are we closing our company, or we start to looking for another job, or what?
No, and so I want to just there is, I have invested a lot of money in this company, and so just to know the ownership structure now is our fund and me and people in my fund that invested on the outside own about 35 to 40% of the company, and then RAC, which is United Arab Emirates, owns about 20% of the company, and then we have a few other outsiders that own a big chunk, and we've been in contact with all of them, and everyone's supportive of both the direction we're going in now. They were a little concerned over the last year and a half of the sales decline. And why is it declining? Are these restaurants just not trendy anymore? Are they over? And the unmitigated answer is no. These restaurants, they do have that brand recognition. They have a lot of opportunity, a lot of upside. I think we can get back to the sales that we had in the past, but we need to be smart about it, because ultimately the cash problem is the sales problem. If we're not selling any food, then we're always going to have a cash problem. And that's the question I get from investors, like the people that invest money into these companies. Are we just throwing money down a black hole? Because I'm like, no, we need to do two things. We need to stop the traffic declines, and we need to get some. And how do you do that? Well, the first step was bring back the marketing in-house. That was step one. Step two is get back, and we talked about this, Rico, off camera, is get back in the community. Get back to what these restaurants were. And I think that resonates with the general managers and the managers, because if you're asking a manager, you know how we're gonna get out of this? We're gonna get out of this by selling Wing Riot chicken. That is just a kick, that's a punch in the face. Like, that's not gonna get us out of the hole. Like, that doesn't get us back in the community. So I think we have to go back to our roots.
And it's gonna take team effort.
Correct. And so when you ask the question, are we going bankrupt? Should we look for a job? No, I think the opposite. I think what you're going to start seeing is trends. We got to start seeing as the team offer better service and start seeing those trends reverse themselves. And this is the time of year that we hope to see that anyway. Seasonally, January is always tough, like I said. So coming in mid-February, I have full expectations with Valentine's Day on Wednesday that we could really, that could be the beginning of the new CASA, the new MRI brands.
Oh, great, because I do not want to look for another job.
Yeah, I don't want you to look for another job, Rico. 42 years. I mean, you gotta get your 50th year. We give out a piano away at your 50th year. So
when we catch up with the bills, who's going to get paid first?
And what do you mean by that? Like,
what I mean, like the vendors,
okay.
The
So
providers. I mean, it seems like right now
So we're in a fire jolt, it seems like right now. So I've always put that when I get, and I've been in a lot of these stressful situations with other companies and other, not just restaurants, but other businesses. And what we first do is the people that always get paid first are the employees. You can't miss payroll. Like, if you miss payroll, then you don't have a company anymore.
Correct.
The second, with the restaurants, in my opinion, is food. You gotta pay your food providers. If you don't have food, you really don't have a company anymore. We are fortunate we don't have much debt, so we have very little debt, so that's not an issue.
Well, that's great.
So that would be your third person you have to pay, is your bondholders. The only debt holders are me and some of my investors have put debt in. We're pretty forgiving about it. We're like, let's fix this and you can pay us our interest payments later. That's fine. And then it's the fourth people. You got to pay your rent, and then it becomes everybody else. Right now is outside those four. We'll deal with you guys later. We're pushing stuff off. The other thing that hit us, and it's not talked about much, is insurance. Insurance went up like 30-40% this year over last, and that was mainly because of the hurricanes in Florida that happened 2 years ago. So it just made the whole insurance industry turn upside down. That has not been helpful. So we've gotten hit by the kind of sales traffic decline with food inflation, labor inflation, and then bam, we get insurance prices go up. So we're battling a lot of different elements, but like I said, we have very patient investors who just put another $1 million in to the company, and then we're about to raise probably another $750,000 to $1 million, and that should get us, according to our CFO, who runs a 13-week cash forecast, that should get us to the promised land. Now, I caveat that with we better have sales, right? I mean, if sales go to zero, and listen, I can go through, you could probably go through every restaurant and tell me exactly how you could fix it or how we could, as a team, could fix it. And honestly, that's what we're going to do. We don't have 175 restaurants or 2,000 restaurants. we can look individually at every one of these restaurants as a standalone and say, okay, let's fix this and get it back to where it should be. And that starts with the manager at the store because they know the best, right?
Yes. Yes, sir.
So,
are we planning to grow in a full service location or only on Uber Eats?
Well, I'll caveat that with the cash question too, because we can't grow. We can't really build anything now because of our cash. So Uber Eats, we're franchising, which doesn't cost much to franchise, obviously. Again, we get a 5% royalty fee on every franchise we sell. So, and we've had some success. We just sold 22 franchises since I actually started. Has literally nothing to do with me, but I'll take credit if I will. So so as far as Casa and Monterey, we've got to maximize the cash flow of those right now. And then, listen, I would love to see some Tortugas. I think Tortuga has an interesting brand. I don't think it has to be as big as it is, but if you could build Tortugas along the coast from here to Florida, like that would kind of be a nice little cantina. The Casa and Monterey's, I think that the Casa has, we have 18 Casa plays. I love that brand. I think it could expand. With true honesty, we don't have the cash right now. If I were to say to you, you've got a great Casa location where we do the off camera, we were talking about how the new Casa would look, or where we blend the best of all the recipes and call it like Casa on steroids, if you would. It's like, where I think that would be an interesting concept. But on my list of things for 2024, expanding the Casa and Monterey brands, I want to my focus is to get the tickets in Monterey up, to go to every one of them and get those cash flowing again so they're strong, and then you can expand.
So you want to take care of what we have first. Correct. Before we.
You can't build a new restaurant when the current ones are struggling a little bit.
Correct. I agree with you.
Thanks, Rico.
We going to be doing any more ghost kitchen?
We're gonna stay with Man-Burst Fries, and but that's it. So, and the reason we're sticking with Man-Burst Fries is it's the results have been good out of the gate. So, and it's Mexican, so at least it sits within our brand. And if these ghost kitchens usually have a shelf life 2 years, they go up and then they die. So when Man-Burst Fries hits its peak and starts to, that'll be gone. But we've already made the investment in it before I got here, and since we're making money on it, but I'd like your opinion on it. Like, where are you on Man-Burst Fries?
It's been going great. They're doing good. I mean, seems like and the beauty about Man versus Fries. I mean, we have those ingredients most in every single restaurant. There's barely a few items that we had to bring in, so everything is in the house. So.
Which is kind of how I feel. It's like consistent with
Correct.
What we do.
Correct.
I like our food, so I don't like the ghost kitchen thing. But I already spilled the meat. I thought the wing I think was a stretch. And then the cheesesteaks never sold much, and the burgers, Mr. Beast burger, Mr. Beast got in trouble himself. So you do have some brand risk too when you do that stuff. But if Von Miller punched his girlfriend as soon as we started rolling that out, and that I'd rather have control over my brands. Now, if our kitchens are empty and you're desperate, maybe you do stuff like that. But I don't. With what I want to do, which is get more traffic in our current stores, I think that's the focus, not ghost kitchens.
Well, great. I'm glad to hear that. Can you tell us a little bit more about the company future and anything exciting we have coming?
So I think Uber Eats can grow, and I'll probably get tapes. Oh, he's so pro Uber Eats. Uber Eats, the reason is it costs $550,000 to build one. A drive-through might be $750. So to franchise it, and I think when we bought this thing in 2000, I thought this in 2006, and I think it today. When the burger concepts came to flesh, first one was McDonald's, then Burger King and Wendy's came to compete. Well, the US today has Chipotle, and there's no second to Chipotle. So that was kind of my dream. It was like, let's have the second. We're the Chipotle from Texas. They're from Colorado. That's where Uber Eats was founded. they don't even know it exists right now, so it's gonna be funny to talk about this. But I think if we can get some momentum on the franchise side, that can grow without a whole lot of capital. That will cash flow, and then that will give us the cash to expand, as I said earlier, about the Tortuga, the Cassoulet. Everything's gonna be opportunistic once we have the cash. Because if you told me, oh, there's a great spot for a Cassoulet, and it's gonna do, I think it's gonna do 2.5 million in revenue. I'm all in. But if you told me that tomorrow, I'd be like, we gotta go rob a bank, or we can't do it.
We don't want to do that.
But I think for 24, which is as far as I can see, I think we maintain our Casas in Monterey, not maintain them. We supercharge them, grow them, and we might look at times for joint venture partners if they can help us supercharge it. Like it's like some of our restaurants need they could use a little bit of TLC. And again, I think they've gotten over the years, because of our cash situation, have not gotten the upkeep that they deserve. So, and that hurts sales. I mean, if you go to a Chewy's, it's probably a nicer facility than some of ours, and those are our competitors. So we need, if there's, and we'll see. I mean, if people love to invest in companies that are growing and doing well, but when we're traffic decline and stuff, you don't see as much dollars coming. So we got to turn that ship around, and then we can. In our next interview, Rico, we'll be talking about all this great new growth stuff that we have.
Well, great. Let's hope we have enough money to go to Cancun. Well, Rich, thank you very much for answering all my questions.
Oh.
I mean, very honest. It's great. Thank you very much.
I appreciate the time. And listen, let's make one of my things as the CEO is going to be as transparent. I can't get to all the restaurants and meet all the people. I met the area managers at the Christmas party, but I want to do more of this and get it out to and listen, any manager, I won't say my phone on this, my cell phone number, but I have told Greg, you can text me or email me at any time. I'm always available. I won't get back maybe in 2 seconds, but I'll respond. And I want to hear how the company's doing, because again, I don't live in Texas. I'll be down here a bunch, but I think it's important right now from a culture standpoint. We got to get this culture back to the point where people are just proud to be Casa employees.
Great. Great to hear that. Thank you.
Hey, thanks, Rico.